So I recently held a job title that it looked like leadership, but it didn't actually let me lead in any meaningful way that I was anticipating. The responsibilities didn't match in the end, and I didn't really have the authority wasn't there for me to say, hey, I need to focus on X, Y, and Z instead of A, B, C. And I spent more time on the politics of running the business than actually leading in a pedagogical way. And the truth is, I made a bigger impact and had way more influence and helped so many more people without a title than I ever did when I held one. So, in this episode, I'll show you how you can be a pedagogical leader right now without waiting for permission, a promotion, or a pretty little lanyard with your name and title on it.
Hey there, it's Kelly, and if you're here for miracle fixes, shiny classroom hacks, or whatever today's buzzword is trending, yeah, not gonna happen. What you will get is real talk about English teaching, teacher training, and the chaos we actually deal with in ELT. So let's get into it.
So here it is, kind of like a big news flash. You don't need to be a quote unquote coordinator, director, any of those things to actually lead. And for me, I've seen many people in positions of leadership that are doing great jobs. And I've seen many people in positions of leadership that have their hands tied, like I did. They had many people in leadership positions that are doing a bad job just because they can't get away from the meeting schedule and the management role, and they have to wear the lanyard with the thing and just prove to everybody that I am in a position of power, and it doesn't really shape teaching in their context at all. So if you're a teacher and other teachers go to you for ideas, feedback, or the very classic, can I just run this by you really quick before they hop into a class? You're already leading. You're already leading. And today, what I wanted to talk about was becoming a pedagogical leader, specifically pedagogical leader. I don't care about anything else, to be honest. I'm not running your business. It's not my business. It's your business. You run your business. I'm not going to do it for you. So becoming a pedagogical leader without the management title, and why, in my experience, that can be more effective and fulfilling and more, how can I say this? It can prepare you better for future roles because you have a more complete understanding of what those title positions really mean and what kind of authority you really have there. So, in ELT, again, this is my opinion. If you don't agree, more than welcome to have a conversation with you about it. Feel free to comment if this is not your reality. This is my experience, so I'm allowed to give my opinion on my experience. In ELT, what I see is that we tend to measure leadership by hierarchy. So the org chart, the organizational chart, will tell us who's in charge and who can do things. But the real truth is that some of the best leaders that I've ever met don't have any position on that org chart. Some of them have been on the org chart and high up in it, but some of them who are amazing pedagogical leaders, teachers, just mentors have not been on that org chart. So the reason I say that is because they lead from the classroom. They influence practice without ever having a formal position. They don't have a title, and they influence that the sphere of influence that they have is massive. And that's at the head or the heart of pedagogical leadership, is influencing how learning happens, not just managing people and tasks and getting your ego inflated by whatever title you're going to get. So here we go. What pedagogical leadership really means. Hang on, let me just check something real quick. Because honestly, like, we got to define it first. And I think that pedagogical leadership is influence without management. It's shaping teaching practice, like the really important stuff that we're all should be focused on, not titles or anything. Like, we should be focused on what's happening in the classroom. And leadership to me does that through modeling, mentoring, sharing, and experimenting. Those 4 things: modeling, mentoring, sharing, and experimenting. It's not about signing timesheets. It's not about approving budgets or appointing people to certain positions or even making, like random decisions here and there. It's about raising the quality of teaching around you. That's what pedagogical leadership is. So I've seen and I've thought about it. I tend to think a lot. I know that people think that maybe I don't. I just kind of off the cuff throw things out there, but I do kind of rattle these ideas around in my head for a bit. There's 4 core behaviors that I've noticed people who I respect as pedagogical leaders tend to exhibit. The first one being modeling clarity. So they have intention. Everything is very transparent in decision-making processes. You can ask them for input and they will just be able to distill ideas down for you so that it's really, really intentional, clear, and transparent. So modeling clarity, first thing. And it can be like intentional in anything, what they do, how they choose activities, lessons, interactions, classroom dynamic, anything. The second one is they open doors for dialogue, creating safe spaces for actual reflective talk. I'm not talking about saying, my door is always open. I'm saying that my door is open, and this is what people have modeled for me, and I found it to be very inspirational. I tried to model it myself too, but maybe I'm not 100% great at it yet. But my door is open, and it's about reflective talk. So I'm not going to judge you if you're not able to reflect logically or kind of go through, or you're hyper focusing on one aspect or another. But being able to have that safe space where if I'm reflecting about something, clearly during reflection, we haven't always gotten down to a very clear idea. We haven't distilled all of these random thoughts into something that's very coherent and cohesive that we can explain to somebody else. And so when you open space for reflective talk, it's allowing people to kind of muddle through that. They might say something completely outrageous, and that's okay. But then you gotta work with them and get down to the core of it. So behavior number 3 is experimenting out loud, being willing to try, fail, and adapt in public, in front of other people. The people who are not willing to try, fail, and adapt in front of others, for me, not a pedagogical leader. I don't like polished. The things that I learned the best lessons from were always when I saw other people struggling and in real time figure a way out of it. That's where I learned things. I don't want people to fail, obviously, but life is not perfect. Teaching English is not easy. You never know what's going to happen. And so, if you don't have the humility to experiment out loud and be vulnerable to the fact that you might mess up and something might go wrong and you're going to have to, on your feet, figure it out, how can I look to you as a leader? Because not everything is perfect and polished. The messy moments are the moments that we grow from. So when everything's perfect and running smoothly and everything's great, no, that's nice as a model, but then also we need to learn things in the messy moments too. So, and the last one, the last behavior that I saw was inviting others in, encouraging co-planning, peer observation, and shared reflection. This is not done in isolation. and there's no constants in language teaching. Not that I've found, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong in this. There's just no constants in it. And so when you open it up and you allow for people to collaborate and to see different ways and different perspectives and how they create things and how you deliver stuff and all of that, all of those, again, messy aspects of teaching, I find that to be very inspirational and very helpful to most people, both sides of it, as like being trainer, trainee, that, both sides. I think a lot of trainees think that trainers too, for whatever reason, that we don't get anything out of trainings. And I think I don't know if we could put like an equivalent on it, but when I train trainees and I kind of open these like co-planning spaces and doing like peer observation and having that conversation, like I pick up on things too, and I learn things from new teachers. And I think that if you're not learning from new teachers, experienced teachers, anybody that you're observing kind of critically looking at things, I think you're missing out. And I just think that leaders are not fully formed. And so if there's a person out there that's exhibiting or stating that they are fully formed and they know the way, I got my doubts. I'm very suspicious. So, all right, let me tell you about my experience. So I've lived both sides of this. Yeah. At one point, I was given, again, going back to my original story, that I was given a title. It sounded like leadership. And I've put this down so that I am very careful about what I say here. And I'm going to refer to my notes just because I don't want to be misrepresented in any way. So it's the kind of positions that you have to update your email signature and people instantly take you a little bit more seriously. And it's just, I hate getting into all of this, but okay. And at first I was actually really excited. And I thought, finally, I'm going to have the scope to improve things on a large scale, maybe perhaps a larger scale than what I was operating on, and to shape training and to really set the academic tone for a larger group of teachers. And in reality, in the end, responsibilities did not match the title at all. I think it's a little bit of my fault, but yeah. Hindsight is 2020. So I really didn't have, I had a lot of decision-making power, but I didn't have the power to choose to work on the things that actually mattered or were associated, correlated with my title. So curriculum changes, teacher development priorities, student learning outcomes. I was stuck doing reactive admin tasks. I was firefighting all sorts of crises that were popping up, and I was constantly managing other people's priorities, not my own, not my job titles. I was just putting out fires for other people because there was either no one in that position or nobody that took responsibility for it, and it was so demoralizing, I have to say. And I realized I was putting in like leadership level emotional energy, because when I take on projects, I take on wholeheartedly. It's like, okay, this is my baby now, and I'm going to take care of this until, like, I'm going to defend it. I'm going to take care of it. I'm going to do it. And it was without any tools or resources. I just didn't get any of the support. And even when I complained about it too, I was just like, yeah, hang in there. Like, it was, that doesn't really work for me. So, and I realized that my own teaching practice, this was like a really big hit to me, started to suffer because I was buried in so much politicking around and admin bullshit that I don't care about, that I was just getting frustrated. And then it started affecting my other projects too. It started affecting, like, I wasn't able to take on trainings like CELTAs or other training projects. I wasn't able to take them on because I was just so inundated with admin crap. And then I also, the quality of my lessons, I feel like I wasn't delivering because I was so unhappy. I'll be honest about it. And I wasn't honest about it at the time. I was like, no, this is just temporary. Like, I just got to get through this. We just got to fix this. We just, and you're always constantly moving the goalpost forward. So, like, you never really achieve any sort of goals. And I just thought to myself, like my classes are kind of trash. Like, I'm just not showing up the way that I used to show up for my students. And that kind of hit me hard. And I remember sitting in like another meeting that should have been an email, one of those things, about something completely unrelated to anything pedagogically related. Like, it was just not pedagogical at all. And I just sat there and I kind of started thinking to myself, like, this is not what leadership should be. This is not what it should feel like. This is maintenance with a fancier name, and this isn't even pedagogical maintenance. Like, I'm not even working with the peer group that I wanted to work with. I'm not doing anything related to what I wanted to do. It was driving me nuts. So the hard truth was that I had more genuine influence before the title in terms of pedagogical leadership. And like, I would have colleagues constantly like pop into my DMs or send me a WhatsApp message, ask about a lesson or ask about a student or ask about this and that. Like, I did informal mentoring all the time, just kind of, like sharing ideas with colleagues. That's fine. And when I could actually share resources freely. Like, I have a website that has been literally untouched for a really long time. Just, that's embarrassing to say, but it was untouched for such a long time because I had to pass on taking on things like that, creating things, being involved in a community, because I was just burdened with administrative things, managerial stuff, which is not for teachers. I guess this is a cautionary tale. For teachers, if you think that you're going to be able to really influence anything pedagogically speaking when you move up into like coordinator, director, you know what I mean? Like supervisor, all of those different roles, you have to be very careful about where that's happening and whether or not you're establishing something in the beginning, because been there, done that, made that mistake. So anyways, this experience made one thing crystal clear for me. Was that I'm better off building in my own space. I can do all of this stuff outside and just on my own terms, no politics. So I'm just going to kind of go off on my own. So fast forward to recently, like very recently, I've been offered a couple other positions, similar. It's like the titles, like the title things. And this time I passed on a couple because they resembled the thing that burnt me out. So I was like, no, I'm just going to pass on that. And then there was one that would fit into my life. So I negotiated everything before even considering accepting. Like, I was super hesitant. I think my husband was more excited than I was. And I said, I had to make this very, very clear that I would only work as a consultant. I would not work for the school. I would not be associated with it. Like, you can use my image or whatever, but I am not integrated into the school. I am consulting for you and I'm helping you with very specific problems. I'm not a full-time manager. I'm not taking on that responsibility. I put tasks very plain, not English, Portuguese. I want to say plain English, but Portuguese. Like, these are the tasks that I'm responsible for. These are the categories I'm responsible for. Anything outside of this is outside of my purview. There was zero confusion about my role. This is exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to set my own availability. I charge my hourly rate that I do for this type of consulting. And I only agreed because I knew exactly what I was responsible for, when I was going to be working, how much I was going to be making, and how much of a commitment it was. So that was it. I was really excited about it once I agreed to it, because it was a chance for me to work with a group of very novice teachers. And because I did like very hard negotiations, and I'm not sure if they were happy with that, but that was it. I'm working with the teachers. I'm not going to be doing all the other stuff that and like, you're not going to be throwing things onto me. And then I have to forget about the other things because these are your priorities, but now they become my priorities. Nope, 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 nope. So this made all the difference for me. It felt like it wasn't a trap, because I feel like I got trapped last time, to be honest. So it gave me access to the people that I wanted to help, because I genuinely want to help teachers. That's kind of what I like to do. I just like working with teachers. I like working with teachers. I like teaching in the classroom. I like being in the classroom. Anything outside of that, please don't contact me. I'm really not super interested in it. Like, I just like working with teachers. And what else do I have here? I had notes just to make sure. Yeah, it was mostly about that. So it was like my own terms, my boundaries, very clear understanding from both parties, and everybody was okay with it. I was like, all right, so this, and so far it's been fine, and nobody has overreached. I don't get involved in things that do not pertain to my position, and they don't ask me for things, and everything that I'm delivering seems to be okay and working. So great. All right, so why leading without a title can be more powerful? Going back to the experience of just kind of me kind of doing it on my own. And this is what I've felt, because I've seen it on both sides. Like, I've had the titles, I've not had the titles, I've had kind of minimal titles, you know what I mean? I'm kind of in and out. I probably should update my LinkedIn, because I don't really list all of the things. Anyway, well, no, I have it there as a consultant, but I don't really list out all the different projects. Maybe I should, but here, anyway, sorry, random thought. Freedom from bureaucracy. No monthly reports, none of that stuff that just disappears into a folder and then nobody ever opens it ever again. No endless meetings about things that have nothing to do about teaching, because I'm a teacher. Like, I don't want to run your business. Thank you very much. That's your responsibility. You do it on your own. And my time always stays focused on students, teachers, practice. So you can step into leadership roles without titles, and it gives you this kind of freedom from bureaucracy if you just want to stay in the practitioner space. You influence through trust. So when you lead from the floor, meaning the classroom, in planning sessions, in doing the actual work, your credibility is obvious because people can see it. It's tangible, it's there. You see the effect that teachers have on their students. And when they see teachers doing it, it's far more persuasive than any title that you can have. So I know that you're probably thinking of this one teacher that you always thought as a reference, and maybe they didn't have the title, but they were always kind of there in front of you and just showing you how to get it done. So influence through trust is a very powerful thing. And if you don't have a title, agility and innovation. So you don't have a job description box that you have to check all of these things off of. So you can move faster. You're way more agile, and you can try new projects. You can share experiments. You can pivot without permission. And that is so refreshing, especially when you've been confined and you have to get authorization for so long. So, sometimes you do kind of become, and you create your own presence, you create your own reputation without even having the title. If you want the title, if that's something that you then want to move into, that's fine. But what I'm saying is, for teachers that think, well, who am I? Yeah, who are you? Show people who you are. So you can step into these leadership roles wherever you are, like wherever you're at the moment. And here's 4 actionable ways that you can do that. 1, you can share a resource and explain your thinking on it. YouTube, social media, however you want to do that. 2, you can invite a colleague to observe a class with you and then debrief together. A colleague that you trust. Be very careful here. Not all colleagues are on your side. I've learned that the hard way. Three. Run a 15-minute idea swap in a meeting or something like that with your peers. These things are very helpful. And if you're kind of leading them and encouraging people, motivating people to participate in them, you'll start becoming a reference within your circle. Publicly acknowledge another teacher's innovation, and share it. We don't do this enough because we're so scared that other teachers are our competition. I'm competing with no one. I want everyone to succeed because everyone's going to succeed, because not all people are my people. And that's fine. It's a very kind of like hippy dippy, I know, like very loving sort of way, which is very unusual for me. But listen, you share other people's accomplishments and just be like, hey, this person did a really awesome job doing this, and show it off. Hey, this teacher from, my school created this and it's amazing and it's such a great resource. Can we share it with the other teachers? Should be doing that. Why not? Publicly acknowledge other teachers when they do something right. It's not going to damage your reputation, I promise. So here's the mindset shift. Stop waiting for the lanyard. The work you do today can shape someone's teaching tomorrow, and that's what leadership is. I genuinely believe this. You don't need to have a title to be influential, you don't need it. If you want it, go after it. Know all of the things that do come with the title though. And if you're willing to sacrifice those, it's a clear trade for you, it's even negotiation, that's fine. That's fine. You can have the title. I'm not saying all people with titles are not, that's fine. There's a lot of people with titles who are doing an amazing job. But you can start now without a title. So here's your challenge. Lead people where you are this week. Share, model, invite, and reflect. And if you want to design your own teacher development project, because maybe you need help, you need a little extra motivation, you need a little confidence boost, wherever you're at, one that doesn't need the management to thrive, you just want to, go out on your own and start doing things, then let's talk. Because leadership isn't a ladder. It's a web of influence. And you can certainly start weaving right now.
That's it for today. If you want more, I've got binge-worthy playlists right here on the channel. You can also grab some resources at kellypenningtonelt.com, Instagram at kellypenningtonelt, and yes, even LinkedIn, where I do my best impression of being professional. Links below. See you in the next one.